Frostpunk 2 just got so much bigger. Hey folks, my name is Pravus, and we are here today to look at the new Fractured Utopias DLC for Frostpunk 2. As you might be able to guess just from the name, this is a huge update to the Utopia Builder mode, really enhancing your interaction with the different factions, because they all now have a very different vision for how the city will develop, and they will fight you bitterly to make that happen. But this comes with huge rewards too. We're talking new technologies, new buildings, new political choices, even new ways of winning the game. All of this and more in today's video. Though first I do want to acknowledge that we are sponsored today by 11-Bit Studios. They got me an early development build for the DLC, so you might see a couple of visual glitches here and there, but as always, I am thrilled to be working with them. If you guys want to learn more about the new Frostpunk 2 DLC that just launched on PC, Xbox, and PS5, I would encourage you to click on that link in the description down below. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and start up a new Utopia Builder. Now, right off the bat, you're going to see some new features here. This menu has been completely reworked. We do have a couple of new tales for this DLC, which are extra storylines and modifiers that you have to overcome in your game. Can make the game quite challenging, but give you really good rewards if you complete it. We have Doomsayers, where one community in your city is going to be convinced the end has come and is trying to convince everyone else. That could be a problem. Also, we have a plague that you then have to, overcome and find a cure for it. Yeah, both of those can be very challenging. Also, communities have been reworked. You no longer have preset communities. You can pick and choose whichever ones you want. So let's say I wanted to go for the machinists, the laborers, and the thinkers. We can do that, and then I can choose my special Zeitgeist faction. In my case, I'll choose the Technocrats since that lines up with everybody else, and it's also one of my favorites to play with. This is very important, though. Which faction you choose is going to determine the playstyle of your new city. I'm happy with this, though. Let's go ahead and move on. There is a new map in this DLC. It is called the Jagged Bay. Haven't played with this yet, so it's going to be fun. And as far as our objectives, I don't know, repopulate the Frostland is probably fine. Well, already, this looks like a very interesting map. Okay. How are we going to build here? It feels like we're going to be having a few very cramped gorges to work with. This could be really good, or it could be really bad. We'll find out. Okay. Anyway, first things first, let's talk about something new that is really important in Utopia Builder. And that is going to be the Utopia tree down here in the bottom left. Depending on which faction you chose, this will determine a whole new type of, I guess, kind of like a talent system that you can use to develop your city. Now, you will gain additional points as you complete some objectives for your starting faction. So, for example, if we can pass chemical additives, supported quarantine, and harvesting funerals, that would be able to get me my next point. You'll spend them to unlock some special abilities. In my case, we have something we've never seen before. The Calculating Node. This boosts up your efficiency in neighboring central districts, which I assume is just going to boost up the effectiveness of our generator. It also boosts up computation. We've never seen compute before. I don't even know what this does. When upgraded, we get even more generator heat capacity, and it unlocks new abilities, optimize output, and optimize input. What does that mean? Well, if I hover my mouse right over here, we can see exactly what computation is. It's our city's ability to solve complex equations. But exactly how do you use this? Don't know yet. Let's find out. So let's take a look at that right now. Takes up 3 tiles, huh? Okay. And yeah, placed properly would be able to boost up manufacturing of many, many different things. Interesting. 24% more goods, food, materials, shelter, and some extra prefabs. That's still a little bit awkward for me, though, because I would like to be able to place my housing districts next to the central city. That's kind of one of the big ways you actually get to propagate your heat right now. Still, okay. Now, as you can imagine, that is completely unique to just the Technocrats. I have done a couple of different playtests and found that every faction has a totally unique talent tree and completely unique game mechanics. So in this video, we're going to try to build out the Technocrats' dream city, a giant calculating super machine. If we can do that, there is an option down here at the bottom to enact Utopia, which you can kind of think of as declaring yourself like the prophet or the dictator from the first game. It removes all tension from the city, period. Anyway, we still have to play this game somewhat normally. Wow, this is a very cramped map. We do have a source of oil over here. Okay, that's good to know. Logistics are way down here. Food is going to be a little bit difficult to access. I think I have to go in this direction. But on the plus side, around the city, it looks like we have a giant area sheltered from the wind, so our heat levels won't be horribly hard to maintain for a while. Yeah, this is going to take some serious planning. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time in the early game here. If you've watched this channel before, you already know roughly what I'm going to be doing here, but I do want to just go ahead and show off this map at the very least. So we're going to frost break a bunch of areas real quick before I run out of resources, and then we can plan accordingly. Remember, at some point recently, in the last few months, heat got completely reworked in this game. So nowadays, your districts are going to have individual heat levels, and you can spend your extra coal to boost that up. Warm districts propagate their heat into nearby regions, and also the heating hub is now extremely important for your survival. In some ways, I think you could actually say that the new heating hubs and how they work are a little bit more familiar from Frostpunk 1. Anyway, let's make sure we also place down our council hall early on. And all right, I'll go ahead and place down a calculating node. I am curious how this will work. I mean, it shouldn't be a lot. Our central district is only producing things like 40 food, so an extra 24% there is nice, but it's only like an extra 10. So, I mean, let's not pretend that this is going to be game-breaking, but I do want to know exactly what computation is going to do. Anyway, let's hop into our council so we can start passing a few early laws. Some of these are going to be very, very helpful for us. For example, it would be nice to have an outsider rule early on, but the technocrats want all outsiders? Really? Not just productive? Okay. Well, I'll propose it anyway because I do find in Utopia mode having enough population can be very, very useful. If you find yourself getting bottlenecked on active workers, you're just sitting back twiddling your thumbs, and that's no fun. All right, so some of these districts are now placed. They are all getting assigned to individual faction communities. And as we can see here, they are all currently warm. If I hold down tab, we can see the new heating map mode. We could spend extra coal and such to increase this further, but right now that would be wasted heat. Let's not forget to go ahead and start placing down some research institutes early on. Start generating some coal, some materials as well, and of course some food, though the positioning of this is highly unfortunate. For early technologies, housing insulation is obviously quite great, but since we are sheltered from the wind, it's not as required. Coal mines wouldn't be a bad idea. I also know that I'm going to struggle with things like materials because our computing nodes are using up quite a lot of that, so we might want to go for some early sawmills. Yeah, I think that's a good call. Now, we have not got much prefab manufacturing right now, so I think we need to propose a new law. Specifically, I would like to get community service and the city development effort. That extra bit of prefabs is actually very helpful in the early game. And of course, these laws are going to continue passing because the machinists and the technocrats are very much in lockstep with each other. Now, what did I just see here as far as, some new computation abilities? Hold on. Optimize inputs, scale effects with computation, demand is decreased in scale, or optimize output, efficiency is increased. Really? So wait, can I just do this for anything? Can I only do one district at a time? Like if I said I want to increase the output of my food, well, that only gave me like 2. Okay, and I cannot do it here. Okay, so it takes 5 computation for every district you want to activate this in. Okay, I get it. Let's make sure we get ourselves an extraction district at these prefabs over here, since I've now got that set up. It'll run out fairly quickly, but I mean, like, it's better than setting up an industrial district this early on. By the way, do we have something totally new down here for laws? We do. Ooh, okay. So for childhood laws, normally you'd have just family apprenticeship and mandatory schooling, but the technocrats have aptitude tests, research speed, active workers, a little bit less heat stamps. Huh. Well, that seems really good. I'll take it. So not only do we have unique buildings for every faction, they have unique laws, too. Ooh, and we get a Utopia point. Nice. So what do we want to do with our next point? Do we want to go for auditing citizens? Our efficiency is going to increase because they're gathering up people's personal data. Calculating researchers, so the nodes will use more workforce but get more computation power. Or adapt a district for the technocrats. Renovate a district to tailor its infrastructure to their needs. We get extra research speed, workforce demand is reduced, and many inhabitants will join them. See, this could be really, really cool for me. I'm gonna do an audit for citizens first because I think just the raw efficiency is pretty good. But you can see how all of that would be useful. And yeah, quite literally, the city is going to start taking on a new appearance as you develop further and further with a specific faction. All right, now the cold has gotten a bit worse. We can take a look at some stuff here. If I increase the temperature of this district, not only does this now become warm, but it should actually increase the heat of the nearby district as well. So that's an option for us. And we're already out of heat stamps. Boo. Can anyone raise any funds for me? No? Oh, just gotta wait a few weeks. All right. And the Ice Bloods just formed as a new faction. Now, they're gonna be a problem for me, because these guys are gonna hate basically everything I do. All of my communities are opposed to them. In fact, they're already at maximum opposition. Really? Well, this could lead to conflict very, very quickly. We could try to do things like promote them and stuff, and that would help reduce some of their fervor, but I don't really have a great way of stopping this yet. We have a new law over here, by the way. Funerals. Harvesting funerals, ceremonial funerals, or heroic funerals for the Ice Bloods. So even though the Ice Bloods are not our chosen faction, it looks like we can still see some of their special laws. It's just that it's almost impossible for people to vote for this. Still kind of cool to see what it does. Every death marginally increases efficiency for several months. If you let your people die, the rest work harder because they're inspired? Oh my god. Well, we're not doing that. I'm going to continue making the technocrats happy and do the things they want, which is enough to get me another Utopia point. What do we have here? Civic Index. All communities' fervor is decreased. Tension is significantly decreased. That is a way of demilitarizing the Ice Bloods a little bit. Yeah. I guess I could do that just because I am kind of concerned they'll start an early civil war. Okay, I'll pick that up, I suppose. That did not actually reduce their fervor. Oh my god, okay. So I guess they just invisibly had even more fervor on them. Great. By the way, before we forget, let's make sure we get ourselves a logistics hub. It'd be good to start exploring the Frostlands. And let's take a look at the map we're working with. Don't see a lot interesting stuff yet, so we can go to the Sea of Ice, we can go to these hills, or we can go to the plains. What do I care about the most? Honestly, probably just food at this point. Coal would have been great as well, but for now, sure, I'll take it. And at this point, I've now passed most of the early game laws I care about. My materials don't look good, but that's because I pulled back on some active workforce. We're mostly good on all the other resources we care about, and heat stamps are coming in at a decent rate. So, knowing that's the case, maybe we should go ahead and place down some more calculating nodes. I mean, we have an objective to have 3 nodes and 30 compute. Now, given that each of these nodes currently only gives 5, I would suggest that means we need to build a whole bunch of these things, like 6 of them, but maybe the adjacency bonuses are really strong? Not that strong, just gets 1 extra adjacency bonus. Okay. What is this? Hierarchy? Okay, I don't know what this is. Hang on, the technocrats have something totally different for us. All communities for... Oh, this is the thing we unlocked. Oh, I thought that this would, like, apply immediately. It's just like a law we have to pass. Got it. Okay, sure. Reduce the fervor of those Ice Bloods. There we go. See? They're down to 2 fervor instead of 3. Okay, this works. And we even have another Utopia point. We could go for dispassionate. Relations worsening effects are diminished for all communities except the Ice Bloods. I'll be honest, I don't expect they're going to do a lot of relations worsening things. So I'm going to say that's a low priority. Technocrat housing for really, really fast research, though, man. I don't know. And then, of course, just start getting 10 computes from every node. I think I'll do this because the more computation we have, not only can we affect more districts, but also it scales higher, the impact. Not by an absolute ton, mind you, but, you know, some. In fact, I'd like to just go ahead and build out my 3rd. We can connect this to another node, like so, and that will eventually be enough, I think, to complete our goal. But it's our research institutes that have to give me extra... Oh, compute. There it is. Oh, I mistakenly assumed that this was going to be something that would affect only the nodes, like we click on this. But it did say research institutes have the effect. So I would spend the workforce here to get the extra compute. There it is. So what you really want then is to have, like, 3 different research institutes, and then activate this, and then between the 3 nodes and your 3 different institutes employing savants, that would get you enough compute power. Okay. And here we go. We have protests from the Ice Bloods. We all knew this was going to happen eventually. All right, we can repeal something they hate. Within 40 weeks, no option? That seems like a mistake. Or return their relations to neutral to stop the protest. I can try to make them some promises, or rather just raise their relations up. Why are they protesting in this district? This isn't even your district. But anyway, if I fund their projects, it's not quite enough. I will then also try to make you a promise or grant an agenda. What promise can we make you? I will research Skyways. This is something I have to do anyway eventually. And the technocrats, for their part, are also building up their own rallies. Oh, gosh. Much faster research is always nice, but what I think I need is actually going to be the heat stamps here, because that's going to be what slows me down from buying more research. Now, if I had more guards, I could try to quell the protest here. That would give them fervor, which I don't love. Counter-protest? Builds up fervor for everybody. Well, I can do this, but I thought that I already was making a promise here, so I don't know. I think I'll stick with my original promises, and we're just going to have to eat this protest for at least a bit. Oh, good, a whiteout is on the way. Yay. Well, in preparation for that, it would be nice to get myself some insulation built up, which I'm currently working on. Would also be wise to get a generator upgrade. There we go. We got these guys up to neutral. The protests are going to collapse. Thank you. Go away. We don't like you. Now let's start getting some of our insulation in these districts. It does cost you some heat stamps and some prefabs, which kind of sucks. But permanent increase to its heat can be good, especially if these are going to be pushed up into warm territory. So you kind of propagate the heat outwards. Now I have 30 compute power, by the way. All right, so we have unlocked the power of compute success. Soon enough, machines will rationalize every aspect of city life for the betterment of all. Am I trying to create an AI? I think I am. This concerns me just a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Ooh, all right, now we've got a nice little perk here. So the technocrats absolutely adore me. So now that they've reached devoted status, their optimizing maintenance perk remains active. Material demand is decreased across the board. So this is something that I didn't see when we first started the game. I think it enabled once the opposing faction began. But I want to point out something new for factions here called traits. If I click on this, we can see this a little bit easier. So here we can see their traits. We have Institute Builders. When they trust the steward to direct research properly, they donate their labor to reduce the construction costs of research institutes. Which, I mean, if I'm not going to be building a lot of these, isn't very useful, but you get the idea. Research addicts, so relations with them further increase whenever they're assigned to research. So if I keep giving them what they want to research, they just love me more and more. That's a good way of keeping devoted status. And then machine adjacent, relations increase if they're key district neighbors, industry or extraction districts. That is actually really good to know, because that means over here where I have industry and extraction, if I built a housing district, which is normally a really bad idea to place next to these because of the, well, the pollution and stuff like that. But if I built this, we could boost up the efficiency of both of these districts. See, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Some really interesting things. What about the Ice Bloods? What do they have? Well, they are quick-tempered, very easy to take offense, so their fervor is naturally high. Great, and also promoting them does not solve the problem. They are sick-averse, so relations improve whenever using triage. And then they are Frostland Naturals, research doubled whenever assigned to a Frostland topic. Interesting. Yeah, you can imagine every one of these factions now has some pretty interesting changes to them. The fact that the Ice Bloods are always going to be angry, well, that could become a problem for me, but I mean, we'll figure it out. The thing is, the Ice Bloods genuinely do have the best Frostland tech. They're really good at that. So if I were to use this here, for example, sure, we could have exploration time reduced even further from the scout headquarters. This is just objectively better. Plus, it researches twice as fast. Yay! Whoa. Optimizing outputs is now really good. Check this out. So we have -3, press the button, and bada boom, we produce 520 materials now and plus 132. Granted, we're going to burn through the source a lot faster, but like, that's pretty strong. Okay, computation ends up being really good if you invest in it. Oh, and we are completely out of coal over here too now, by the way. Uh-oh. Well, I'm not going to demolish this district. There is an infinite source here for later, but now's a good time to start working toward getting the oil up and running, for sure. All right, we're about to have this pump get built up right now. Generator now can swap over to a different fuel source. And thanks to our compute, we have just enough oil so we can keep the city going. Now, that's going to be a problem when the whiteout gets here, so let's not get too excited, but you get the idea. In fact, getting some pump jacks might be a good decision right now. Yeah, I think we kind of have to, actually. Before the storm arrives, which is very soon, it would be great if we could hook up this oil source right here via skyways. That'll be enough to make sure we have a huge supply of extra oil coming in. We found a materials colony over here. Okay, so if I wanted to set up a new colony here, that's an option for us. There's some other options that would be useful to me right now for heating. I'm just kind of worried about this whole storm. Workplace insulation. Insulate work districts the same way you would housing. Not a bad thing, no. Cost me a lot of prefabs and heat stamps, but it would save me a lot of fuel. Heat utilization is unique to the Ice Bloods as well. Cost of heat allocation in district costs only 25 heat instead of 30. Effectively, it's an increase in the generator capacity. And then, of course, there's the deep deposits. I do like this. This would be great if I want to have basically infinite sources of coal and eventually some food and materials. Anyway, all right, so Whiteout's about to hit. How bad is this going to be? The answer is very, very bad. Hold on. Okay, that is quite cold. Quite cold indeed. We can try to increase local temperatures at least a bit. I want to get everyone into at least just the chilly threshold if possible, but this is going to cost me a lot of fuel to do that. Still, so far we have enough oil to make it work. Hold on. Big issue is I only have so many slots I can spend on any of these districts. So what I might have to do, for example, is actually just temporarily turn off this district, send everyone home because it's too cold and I don't have enough heat from the generator to disperse over there. But this was the perfect amount needed in order to make sure that everything is at least chilly and above, and we are good to go with enough surplus oil that will be fine. Good, all right, this whiteout is no problem at all. We're very rapidly starting to run out of materials and goods. That means my squalor and stuff's about to increase by a lot. That sucks. On the plus side, I now have deep melting drills, which means I could try to get myself some more coal again. Not that I really need coal right now, but I mean, it's not a bad idea to have an extra stockpile. Plus, I mean, if you do things like that, then, I mean, you can just liquefy it into some oil later, right? That's not a bad idea. So I'll place this, but until the whiteout is over, which is in just a few weeks, I'm not turning this back on. Too cold, dang it, too cold. There we go. The whiteout is done. You can go ahead and reset things. The easiest way to do this, by the way, is just to decrease heating across the board, and then just reallocate all heat. There we go. Much faster. All right. Oh, wow. I just got myself a bit more progress research and suddenly jumped up to 2 more Utopia points. Great. In that case, let's go ahead and pick up the Technocrats housing. I am curious what this is going to look like. And what about using computation to get more heat stamps? Maybe. Shelters, blah, blah, blah. Random free topics researched. It all seems okay. 1 extra heat stamp per week isn't an absolute ton. I'm going to take the, probably the generator shelters, then work my way up here toward calculation overclocking, because I feel like that's got to be an end goal. So let's go to some of these districts and see what we can do here. Adapt district to technocrats. And we'll do this in all the districts that currently have my research institutes, because it's supposed to make them far more effective, yeah? Not that we're having much trouble with that. I research unbelievably quickly. All right, there it is. So, what does this look like? Okay. Kind of very blocky. Everything's starting to look a little bit more like the calculating nodes. Yeah, very technical and efficient, I suppose. I liked the other aesthetic better. But all right, fine, whatever, it's fine. Let's try adapting this other district over here. Since it is connected to my industrial district, we know that this should increase efficiency, so long as they're all happy with me. More Utopia tree points available. Oh, I love making this progress here on, well, Reason. So, let's go ahead and grab, I guess, the capacity overclocking in case I end up needing more heat capacity. And then calculation overclocking seems fun. Compute output of calculating nodes is extremely increased. Efficiency of the central district is increased even further. The requirements go up as well, but I mean, like, if we're producing a lot, then who cares? So this brings me up to, what, 44 compute? Okay. Do I need to do, like, any upgrades or anything? No, I don't think so. Uh-oh. Violent protests are beginning now? Why? Raise them up to neutral, huh? Okay. Well, if I can just do a bunch of Frostland research, that should be a very quick way of trying to get them happy. There we go. Solve that problem. So disperse your stupid violence! How dare you! What else do I need to get more points here, by the way? We're very close in terms of our reason. Build teaching hospitals, anything else to advance reason. We're really close. Really close. So wait, am I not going to be able to get enough points to finish this out? Maybe. That would be unfortunate because I wanted to also go toward this replicate core. Every 20 weeks we can get a free core. Like, that seems amazing. Well, I guess we'll find out. Now, I have been working down some of the rule laws over here. Captain's authority probably isn't necessary if we can pull off a utopia. But I don't mind doing this a little bit. Secret police and stuff like that. Just opportunities to get rid of the Ice Bloods if they become a problem. They may not. But for the peace and security of our great last city, these are the measures I have deigned to take. Okay, we have reached the reason zeitgeist, so now we can research a cornerstone, the algorithm. Optimize research speed or population growth, or regulate disease or hunger. Fun. And from here on out, we have Dreams of Utopia. Our city is now firmly embracing reason, appears to be making that a cornerstone. Ensure the city never aligns with tradition. We need to fully embrace reason. Okay. So their fervor goes up, and from here on out, the more of these things we build, anything traditional is going to increase tension. But we did get ourselves that extra point. All right, let's go ahead and grab Defragment Finances. And I guess if we were to just finish out the rest of the Zeitgeists, that's probably what's going to finish this off. So at this point, the city is now in a very stable position. The only thing I can really do now is continue discovering the Frostland as much as possible. And anything that gives me cores is probably our top priority for the moment. Let's get those surplus injectors built into our generator to make it even more effective with its oil. Just in time for the whiteout, though it is going to increase squalor by a lot. Fuel colony discovered up in this direction. Okay, good. And a whole bunch of cores in a military vault. That's what you like to see. All right, here comes the whiteout. Whee! So let's see. If I go to the generator and say, hey, can you please allocate heat? Let me guess, we don't have enough? No. Okay. So we need to pick and choose what makes sense to us. Well, I don't think I need any coal over here at the moment. I can afford to turn off some prefab or good manufacturing. We can turn off oil for now, but we'll keep an eye on that because we don't want to run out. And yeah, the more districts that we have, the harder it is to properly allocate our heat right now. Could go for an overdrive temporarily and just see if that makes things a little bit better. That at least brings us to chilly on everything. Okay, generator is starting to reach critical territory. All right, this is where things start getting dangerous. We will turn this off temporarily. Try to allocate what heat I can. Turns out I have enough. All right, problem solved. Just had to improve the insulation of a few districts, and we are good to go. Everything is now livable. Very concerned about our lack of food. That could become a problem super quick. Could do some emergency shifts. Chance of people dying and stuff is obviously not good, but I mean, yeah. Disease. I'm gonna do some excessive fertilization for the moment. So let's just try to slow this down where we can. There we go. More fertilizer. Problem solved temporarily. About to run out of goods, but what can you do? We're about to have a protest issue over here. Not much I can do about that. And the storm has passed once again. Everyone is feeling nice and warm right about now. Let's go ahead and turn that all down. There we go. I have so much fuel, it's ridiculous. Serious issues right now with our squalor, by the way. Very serious. Which is no surprise, really. That was always going to be a problem whenever you work with the technocrats and the machinists. So the Ice Bloods are continuing to have more protests. All right. This is where I should be able to do things like counter-protests, or maybe even try to quell them entirely. I need more guards. Okay. One more surveillance watchtower will do the job. There we go. We can now quell this. They're going to gain fervor as a result, but I mean, like, I'm not going to let you guys protest. And there we go. Problem solved. Oh, it's good to be the king. What are some new laws we have available here? We could swap away from the city development effort now. I don't really need to have that with the prefabs. Instead, we could go for Heat Pipe Watch, which increases our temperature level by a lot. All housing districts, that's huge. The other alternative is to go for the exploration time reduction, which I do like, but All right, this is a thematically appropriate run, okay? What can I say? You know, this right here is one of the reasons I don't like playing with the equality zeitgeist very much. We place down mandatory unions, and then we have to keep bribing the corrupt mandatory union leaders, and then if we stop bribing them sufficiently, then trust falls. Like, really? I chose to stop being corrupt, and that's what's gonna make you all mad? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, I'm just saying. Finally, a food colony. Okay, this would solve our problems. And since I have a very large surplus population in the city, I'd be happy to toss them into a new colony. I'm going to pass some more radical ideas right now. We're going to abolish all hierarchical structures and management, because that, I think, will help push me in the zeitgeist I'm looking for. Yep, there we go. We now have the equality zeitgeist. So enforce leveling of the playing field. No one shall have inequity in my society. The city can seize goods and heat stamps from the privileged. Okay. Also, 5 heat stamps per week. It's not bad. All I gotta do now is figure out how to continue pushing progress. We have a lot of adaptation here because that's what the Ice Bloods have focused on. Plus, we did a lot of the Frostland technologies in their favor. But if we start passing a bunch of different laws instead, it should be fairly easy to do. Oh gosh, dang you Icebloods, stop protesting! You all know what I'm gonna do to you! Quell! Look, just make sure their numbers are low enough they can never get more than one district in a protest. Not that difficult to deal with. Oh no, they've radicalized a little bit. I don't care. I'll just reduce your size by half. There we go. Oh, we have terrible relations? No problem. We already had terrible relations. All right, this colony should be ready to establish, so let's send some colonists, 3,000 of them. Could also set up our materials colony as well, sure. This is why having a very large population is handy. Gonna pass machine attendants, so now we have robots running all of our kiosks. Wait, why is it that I am playing Frostpunk and I'm trying to create an actual modern dystopia? I don't know what draws me to this. Uh-oh. Anyway, there's our Utopia point. Let's replicate the core. So what would it take to get my last 2 points is the real question, because I'm at 100% now. I have to fulfill the faction's other requirements. But what requirements are those? This doesn't actually show for some reason. I'm going to guess that I need to make sure that literally all things opposed to these zeitgeists has to be removed. That is my guess. I don't know. Oh, wait. Here it is. Ah, okay. It's just on this particular screen. Okay. Unlock all Technocrats' Utopia tree nodes, which is what I'm trying to work on, but I don't know how to get the last 2 points. Adapt at least 10 districts. Construct 8 calculating nodes. Resolve ongoing whiteouts or civil war, and then build 5 automated workforce factories. Okay, now we know what we have to do to win. I'd advise making that something that appears when you hover over this, because that's generally where I'm looking to find out my objectives, but okay. Well, I'll go ahead and build out a set of these calculating nodes, and then adapt more stuff, huh? Should be fine. We'll just go ahead and choose a few districts and do it. So, Utopia tree nodes, we know. Automated workforce factories, huh. But how do I get the last 2 tree nodes? That's what scares me. Anyway, the whiteout is finally about to be done. There we go. Okay. Gonna build out these 5 automated workforce factories, though I will say I don't really want them. All they do is increase my active workforce, for which I'm not currently having any sort of a deficit, so, yeah, pass on that. So I'll build these as required, and then I'm gonna turn it off. Fuel colony is now established as well. Now, with all 3 colonies set up, I have found that delicate balance, where they are reinforcing each other with enough resources that everyone is in the positive. I could just go ahead and pass Captain's authority. Sure. Why not? I mean, if they're gonna vote on it without me having to guide them at all, like, I'd be a fool not to. There we go. Long live the captain. That's me. Oh, wait. I think I figured it out. Okay, if we want to finish the last 2 points, all we have to do is unlock the cornerstones for our different ideology. So if I hold and enact this, yeah, the Icebloods are gonna be so mad they'll prepare for war. But I can click on this, which means I have officially embraced this zeitgeist, and now I have a point. Sweet. All right, collective brainstorm. And we'll do the same thing here with equality, which gets me my last point here. So we'll pick up dispassionate. Done. All right, everything has been unlocked, and the Technocrats have 60% of the population of the city under their control. That's fun. So all I need to do now is just turn these on, right? Yeah, all requirements are done. So I can now enact Utopia! Let's do it. And there we go. Across the city, machines toil tirelessly. Their clicking fills its streets. The rhythm of an erring calculation. Citizens work with purpose, each contributing optimally to all. No one envies or wants, or has more or less than they need. All await the algorithm's guidance, eager to see an ever clearer light to I didn't even get the last sentence, dang it! Soon we will be as one, united in a machine city. Sweet, dude! So every one of the factions has something new like that, a totally new method of beating the game. Now by doing this, tension has been completely disabled. Also, since I'm a captain, the trust has been completely disabled. So maybe, just maybe, the Icebloods will decide to declare war of some sort, which is what they're doing, but it's only 1,000 people in my population of 28,000. They will frickin' die. So all that's left then is sending as many pops into the colonies as possible, which I can do now. Oh, there's assassination in the council. Okay, so the Icebloods are starting their war. Normal. I've got 60 guards now, which means I can secure my rule. Boom. My will be done. Let's go ahead and build out our little Iceblood Enclave district. Just as our last whiteout is hitting us, let's go ahead and begin the Enclave relocation for the Ice Bloods, get them out of here. The city officially has not fallen, the Civil War is over, and I think we may actually win. Yep, there we go. Ambition fulfilled. Enough people arrived in the Frostlands, even though it was not the best situation. Right before the whiteout, it was enough, and all objectives are finished just in time. A true utopia in the Frostlands. Perhaps, just perhaps, humanity does stand a chance, side by side with machine. Every faction has a new ending like that, folks. New ways of playing the game, unique mechanics just for them. This adds a lot more replayability into the game, at least 8 different playthroughs now. Not to mention we haven't played with the new Tales, with the Plagues, with the Doomsayers. Put all of these into a game and it will be incredibly difficult. But if you can't overcome them, really cool rewards to get too. I like it. I like it a lot. I think this adds an extra flavor to the Utopia Builder that I previously had been lacking. It was fun as it was, but now I feel like every playthrough is going to be unique and worth continuing. So if you guys want to check it out for yourself, of course, there's going to be a link in the description down below. And as always, I say a big thank you to 11-Bit Studios for sponsoring today's video. Super awesome. Continue developing the game in this direction, and I think we're going to be in a really good spot. Be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.